We can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
With the son of the legendary Rob Skiba, Jeremiah Skiba, what's up?
With my great and insightful co-host, Mr. Jake Grant. It's like they don't even want to wake up.
He's on a quest for truth.
Never before heard alternative version. Hey Skiba News Nation family, welcome to episode 111 of Skiba News Nation, your weekly source of the latest news, controversial topics, conspiracies, forgotten history, and so much more. This week, we have Jake Grant in studio, so welcome Mr. Jake Grant, welcome.
What's up?
Hey,
you know, just when I thought you were about to cut it, we watched the video for 2 more extra minutes. So.
And that's what made it worthwhile. That's what made it great. That's why we have 100,000 subscribers. Thank you guys.
Thank you. You guys rock.
So we got a good show lined up today?
Yes, we do. We have some exclusive footage from my time visiting the inauguration in Washington, D.C., some fun getting around the city there in the National Mall and getting to experience that penultimate Donald Trump rally, where every rally he was promising what he was going to accomplish, but the one I attended was the one he actually did it on stage in front of us all, sat down, went to work, and signed a whole bunch of executive orders as soon as he got sworn in. It was very interesting to be a part of, so I'm excited to share that with you guys.
Awesome, looking forward to it. You ready to dive in, or
I mean, at the end of it, I will say, not only was I there covering the inauguration for Skiba News Nation, but I got some amazing footage for a new music video that I have coming out very soon. I have a promo for that at the end of this kind of long segment. So you guys look out for that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that after you guys see our adventure in Washington, D.C. Check this out.
Sweet.
All right, here we are, about to get to the train station. We got to the hotel last night, and we're going on an adventure. So Washington, D.C., here we come. There we go.
That's my dad and cousin. Yeah, they went with me.
Oh, what you just found?
I found some lettuce, naturally grown in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. lettuce?
The only place you can grow it
Eat
in
some
America.
for me. Show me.
Pretty good.
Wow, man. Washington grew that for your nourishment.
That's our tax dollars.
That's amazing. Hey, where'd you get that apple? Is there apple trees around here?
Got it from Adam and Eve.
That's cool. So, right across from the Capitol building, there's just an anonymous snakeskin boot. I guess somebody lost their boots.
Doors opening. This is a North Vienna, West Border.
That's the Smithsonian. There goes Trump. See you, Trump.
That's when he was visiting Biden that morning in the Oval Office.
We
To
saw
say
it
you're
pass,
fired.
everybody. We're here walking by the Botanical Gardens by the Capitol building. All right, we're here at the Arlington Cemetery, and possible that Donald Trump is going to come visit the Arlington. It's a lot of people waiting here to see.
And you FaceTime me, and I was watching it live on TV.
We have a lot of people lined up here at Arlington.
JD Vance was there.
See, just down there.
Did Trump show up?
Yes, he did.
Statue.
Yep. Admiral Byrd was right down there. Yep.
And everybody's waiting. We're gonna wait for Donald Trump to drive by.
USA. USA.
What are you gonna say when Trump drives by? Let's go, Trump. I'm gonna say, Jeremiah Skiba loves you.
Good. That's right.
There he is.
You didn't say it.
Here we go.
That one has a sidecar.
So we saw him a total of 4 times pass us. Just the odds of being right where he was when he passed during our adventure was amazing.
Now, I'm not a homosexual, but I would have blown a kiss at him.
Jeremiah Skiba loves you.
That was Melania.
He definitely heard it. She definitely heard it. So we're good. Now, I heard they didn't let any bags inside, and people that brought bags had to leave them outside, and there were people that were like legit walking off with them. You seen that footage?
There they go.
Yeah, whoops, I accidentally had the clips misplaced in the timeline. Sorry, guys. Throwback.
He was the second car. I saw his wife, and then I saw his hair.
You saw Trump?
Yeah, he was the second
Beautiful
car.
hair.
Vance was in the first one.
I saw her. Yeah, so
Nice.
so this will
You
be
get
about
video
a
of
5-minute deal.
Huh?
You get the video?
My dad screen recorded it.
This will be about a 5-minute deal.
We saw him pass. He was in that second car, I guess.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I'm freezing.
We're going to the National Archives right now, guys. It is cold and wet, and we're gonna look at some documents. Okay.
All right.
Did you look at some documents?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Well, now the National Archives.
This is the 3rd time Donald Trump passed
It is
us.
snowing and cold.
You know, there was a shot that I was watching all day, and I couldn't tell if it was a drone that was following the car.
Trying to get out
It's a really weird view.
to the wharf.
Did you see any drones?
Yes, we did. They were government, of course. I think like the... So this is in the process of going to different sites for the music video. So this is some exclusive behind the scenes.
Dude, I've done music videos, and it is so awkward when there are people around,
I know.
and you have to like lip sync it in your head, kind of, or play it on your phone. It's the most awkward.
Yeah, you
part of
guys are
music
gonna
video.
love the video. I spent so much time on it, and the track is really killer. It's coming out February 7th, but you're gonna see the promo here at the end of this.
So and I will say, of all the shrines in Washington, this place seems to remind me of the most reverent location. Like, people when they get here, they're very quiet and reverent. And it's just very interesting to see the temples of our... It literally says...
Have you seen the Disney Hercules?
Yeah.
You know Zeus? It's the same pose.
Oh yeah.
It's like they took Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, right there.
Getting the shot was so funny looking.
Right in the Nimrod bone.
Ah, kicking that phallus. Kick that phallus.
So we are here at the
I would've laid
Republican
down on the ground.
Constituents Dinner with free hors d'oeuvres and drinks and meeting all our Kentucky representatives. So,
Now that's apple juice, right?
where did you get one of those? So we're here at the Kentucky Constituents Dinner, and it's a fantastic experience. Free food and drinks and meeting all our Kentucky representatives. So everybody here is getting excited for the Trump inauguration.
We met James Comer,
So
who's
can't complain.
heading the investigation of the Biden family corruption. Now it's just going to be a book because they are all pardoned.
I've got one message for tonight. We are so back.
USA, USA.
We won. And we fought the media. We fought the liberals. We fought the bureaucracy.
The
We
libtards.
fought the deep state. But there are more of us than there are of them.
Were there a bunch of pennies? When I went, there were like pennies all over the ground.
Really? I don't think I even looked for down on the floor. I should have paid more attention.
No $5 bills, though, which I understand.
Yeah, this is a video of just my heavy breathing for your enjoyment.
We know that the fans love that, man.
Oh yeah, we were trying to get a clip of me walking up, but we kept having people like walk into the shot and stuff. So yeah, music video montage here. This is, of course, is all cut stuff. I went with the cooler footage.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Washington has been aligned. We were just at the Jefferson Monument. And
L'Enfant is the architectural designer of Washington, D.C.
Looking at the Washington Monument, this is, of course, the
L'Enfant.
Lincoln Memorial. We're walking upon the Washington Monument, but look at that. All right, so we are at the Jefferson Memorial.
I didn't know that existed either.
And this place,
Quite frankly.
I like the Lincoln Memorial, but I really like the words that he put on the walls here. All right, guys, after a long day, we met with our Kentucky constituents and our congressman. We are heading home to the hotel, and tomorrow we're gonna try to make the rally. What do you think's gonna happen? Think we're gonna get in?
Be good. We're gonna get in.
We're gonna get in. We're going early, right?
We're going early. We're going at 5.
Wow. Hey, Luke.
Some of these
What are you
videos
gonna
were
do
mixed
if you
up.
get to see
Sorry.
Donald Trump live?
Lose my voice.
Lose your voice? All right, man. Well, that's the plan.
Is he buried there?
All right.
I'm not sure.
Debrief. We just got back to the vehicle from riding the train station. The vehicle is completely frozen up, as you can tell.
That's how cold it was, guys. It was rough.
So what is your full opinion on our day in Washington, D.C.? Start with you, Dad.
It was outstanding. Great walk. At least 20,000 steps.
At least 20,000. Luke, how about you? Did you enjoy your first time in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, it just had some up and down. The place we went to, the steak wasn't fully cooked. The train seats weren't comfortable. And the walking, it takes a toll on us old man.
What was the most positive thing about your experience?
Definitely the hot AC play, the party. That was definitely the best.
Party. Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
it was nice and heated. They had a nice heated fan, and it was very comfortable.
I agree. It was very cool. We met a guy named Jockey who runs Prayer War Ministry. Very cool conversation. He prayed for us. But it's been a good day in Washington, D.C., guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
I wouldn't recommend going in the winter.
Yeah, don't go in the winter. We're going to be in line to get into the inaugural event at the Capital One building tomorrow morning, so we're going to be waking up very early. So we'll see if we get in. Well, who knows? We might get to see Donald Trump again. We already saw him today drive by us 20 feet away.
Trump.
That was pretty cool.
Trump.
All right, guys. Reporting live from Washington, D.C. SNN out. Oh, man.
This is the next morning at 3 a.m.
It's early.
Oh, gosh. That's the dedication I have to Skiba News Nation, brother.
Yeah, man, you got to get there super early for Trump rallies. It's crazy how many people show up, especially inauguration.
Head to Chinatown to get a line spot.
So this is us in line again the next morning. Just showing the
All right,
security.
so we're here. We've waited a long time, and we're about to go through security.
Basically 4
How was
hours
that
of.
line, guys?
Wonderful. It was the best morning I've ever had.
All right, here we go. Hopefully we get in.
It is legit TSA.
Oh yeah,
I heard Theo Vaughn was there. All kinds of people were there.
they were in the VIP section, eating steak and drinking beers.
All right, so we made it in. We got the tickets. We're gonna see.
Can you believe it?
We're gonna
Look, can you believe it?
No. We're one of the 20,000 that made it. Walking up to the Capital One Arena. We'll see how this thing goes, everybody. Well, everybody, we've made it in. Yeah. I wasn't sure if we would be able to make it, but we got in.
Got my ticket.
They're in my pocket. Well, we need them to get back in.
We see Joe Biden and Trump leaving the White House together. Going. Yeah.
You know what they call that car?
Real time.
The Beast.
The Beast.
That's why I named my truck the Beast.
It's a cool name.
Because it's a big old beast.
Look at Melania's hat. It looks like
big
the
screen.
Looks like the Guy Fawkes
Melania
hat
walking
from
in.
V for Vendetta. The Guy Fawkes hat, like, I'm gonna show the government who's boss, but it was Melania who's showing him who's bossette.
I heard they booed, right?
Oh yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
recorded this.
This is on the news too.
Live, the live booing. Oh man.
You suck. That would have been me. You know the key to doing that is you yell something and then you look back like as if it wasn't you.
You could feel the whole stadium shake with the boos. Like the floor would vibrate.
Maybe they were saying Jew.
What do you think about the crowd? The crowd reaction. I'm so glad everybody got in. It's amazing.
We were so tired.
Had a good time in line. Now we're here.
Time to nap. Yeah, we want to go to the Mars. Let's get back to the moon first. We've not done that yet.
Well, as you know, we've lost the technology to do that.
Let's get the moon first.
Moon before Mars. One thing at a time.
My heart goes out to you.
This guy was saying some funny stuff, but I didn't record it in time. He was screaming like the most funny things I've ever heard, but I couldn't snack it in time. Sorry.
Can you repeat it?
I can't even remember. He was just talking a really effeminate voice, like towards
last night,
Biden or
he
something.
pardoned the January 6th committee. He pardoned his brother or something, or something.
See, Melania was late. A little bit. But I don't blame her.
I can tell she's trying to like nudge him, like, hey, put your hand on the Bible. Hey,
Yeah.
Bible.
Because she knew. She was like,
Yeah,
this
she's
is
like-
the left is going to try to attack him.
Under the podium there, she's kicking him in the shin. She's like, Donald, hand on Bible.
USA! 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 I was hoping that they wouldn't hit the arena with those cannons.
Yeah, that would be a crazy perspective. Like, you see it on the screen and then you see an explosion here happening in real time. Yeah. Donald just squeezed Melania's shoulder and he was like, "Don't kick me in the shin so hard next time."
Well, I heard he was holding a little tiny microscopic Bible in his hand, so, and the Bible's in his heart.
The Bible is in his heart. Okay. All right. I couldn't help myself, man. It was Elon Musk. Oh, man. And more music video footage. What's up?
I love how your dad is laughing.
Yeah, they were laughing at me the whole time. They were like, "Oh, he's lost it. He's completely lost it." Just wait till you guys see the music video, though. It's gonna be cool. This reminds.
We're having fun here in DC. Obelisk. Man, it just goes to show the mixed origins of our country. You know, the difference between Plymouth Rock and Jamestown. You have the Freemasons and you have the Puritans. It's the concept of how this nation was the fertile ground for the wheat and the tares to grow together. And guess what? One day the Most High is going to separate them. So, we're now going through the lines.
Yeah, that was what the line looked like for 10 minutes, and then it became like a standstill where you had to like inch forward.
Yeah,
for
it sounds
4
like
hours.
when we did it in Dallas. There was a line, but people were cutting the line, so they cut the door off. One person in front of me.
Oh
And
man.
we waited for hours. Were y'all behind him? Or in front of him? We were in front of him, right? Oh.
So that's the podium right down. He's facing that crowd. Yeah, right there.
That's an even better shot.
This was a fork in the road of human civilization.
Trump's really good about turning to all the different directions
Oh yeah.
at rallies.
There are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one
Yeah, unfortunately, I cut the video right before the Nazi Hitler salute. Well, alleged one. I don't believe it was, but
As civilized society remains ever under the regimen of their barbarous ancestors. Yeah, it's pretty profound. Yep. Jefferson Memorial. What's up, Skiba News Nation? We have been walking around all day. We just got out of the Kentucky Constituents Dinner, and now we're checking out a couple more of these memorials before we head back to the hotel. It says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal."
You know, by the thing.
All right, I want to read these
Joe
other two
Biden would say.
murals because I think they're pretty cool. I mean, these men, I don't believe, they had a full perspective of the truth, but the matter of the situation is that they did the best that they could with the situations that they had. So they developed a government to empower the people. Almighty God hath created the mind free. All attempts to influence it by temporal punishments or burthens are departure from the plan of the holy author of our religion. No man shall be compelled to frequent or support any religious worship or ministry, or shall otherwise suffer on account of his religious opinions or beliefs. But all men shall be free to profess, and by argument to maintain their opinions in matters of religion. I know but one code of morality for men, whether acting or singly or collectively. All right, so here's the final mural. God who gave us liberty. Can the liberties of a nation be secured when we have removed a conviction that these liberties are the gift of God? You only know, sovereignty of possession by thou shalt not steal. You only know sovereignty of marriage by thou shalt not commit adultery. And so, like, there's a lot of context in terms of what the commandments give us protections for. Continue on. When I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot be sleep forever, commerce between master and slave is despotism. Nothing is more certainly written in the book of fate than that these people are to be free, establish the law for education, the common people. This is the business of the state, to effect and on a general plan. It's really interesting, the summary of the role of the state. So, very cool. And the Jefferson Memorial. Alright, very cool, guys. It's been a pretty fun adventure today, and hopefully you guys enjoyed some of the clips.
In my song, I say the phrase nickel and dime. So I was going to those shrines of the men who were on the nickels and dimes. So I thought it was a cool kind of connection there. Yeah, we basically ran around all four corners of the National Mall area.
To stay warm?
Basically, you had to keep moving or else you'd just freeze up. It was like 10 degrees.
Alright, we're on the way home from Washington, D.C., and we're passing Mordor.
So, yeah.
Man.
The all-seeing eyes right there. Watch out.
What is this? Mad Max?
Somewhere in Kentucky.
This is Ashland. Oh, there we go. Alright, well, they definitely hired the post-apocalyptic decorator for this area. Oh, man. Home again. Hey, what is up? I got something really exciting I'm about to share with my good friends, the Skibas. Jeremiah and Lindsay, we're here hanging out with them here in Dallas, and I'm about to play for them my new music video, Procrastinating Prophets, and it's going to be out February 7th, so you guys look out, and we're about to kick it off. Here we go, guys. You ready? The music video is going to start. We're going to see it. All right, here we go. What'd you guys think?
I thought it was great. No, I thought it was cool. You know, like being actually there is way cooler than doing something, you know, with the green screen. You know, I think it's awesome.
Storming DC, y'all. All right, check it out when it comes out. Ah!
Very nice.
Oh, it was a very fun trip, and next time Jeremiah's gonna be with me, guys. So you be on the lookout. We're gonna have some fun adventures, us Skiba News Nationers going on site, and I think actually being there in person taught me how much more interesting the content is, and really like how like you can end up in like these divine appointment type situations when you just show up. So like that was a you know, really eye-opening thing, and also, you know, I got some awesome music video footage, so you guys be on the lookout for that. It's songs Procrastinating Prophets with Sincere for Yah, Simply Prodigal, and that's coming out on February 7th with all that cool footage I got. And you guys saw the B-roll in this segment, but man, yeah, what an interesting thing to get to be a part of. I've never been to a Donald Trump event or rally or anything, but I guess I chose the right one because it was super cool seeing him, you know, get up and start signing those executive orders as this big, like, ultimate power play move where he's been being like, at all his rallies, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then, like, he shows up and he sits down and he's like, I'm doing it. You know, so it's really cool. But we have so much news to cover this week, Jeremiah. It's crammed packed. So our audience, please be patient, because there's no way we can cover every element and aspect of the things that are very quickly rolling out with this new administration. But we will talk about some things. So let's get into it.
Let's dive in.
All right, guys, so let's start off with this first meme. You're going to find it funny how I flipped the script on it. This picture here says, "Yes, you all are wrong." And it's a single guy with a crowd of people surrounding them, right? And the quote is, "What the herd hates most is the one who thinks differently. It is not so much the opinions itself, but the audacity of wanting to think for themselves, something they do not know how to do." From author Schopenhauer. So, I mean, what I want to bring out about this and to set the precedence for our episode going forward is just a month ago, right? Conservative, Trump-supporting people, oftentimes in the workplace, in school, they felt like this individual, isolated, the only one standing up against this woke agenda that was so disseminated into our culture that everything and everyone seemed to be affected by it. And now the script's been flipped to where everybody has to now kind of make amends, kind of a Mark Zuckerberg effect where they have to backpedal on all of their, pro agenda stuff and try to join teams with the people in power now. And so it was very interesting to me to see kind of all those people who were flipping sides, basically, because the winds are changing. And I wanted to put this warning out there is, in an administration where some things are like almost too good to be true, it seems like, we have to make sure that the herd mentality, the group think of everything under this administration is good and great, and it's all okay because we finally made it in. We have to be very cautious of that mindset, because we always have to stay and remain as watchmen as things start rolling out in the world, because there's a lot of people that might have ulterior motives and agendas that are going to try to push them through the Donald Trump administration. And so I wanted to look at that picture. A month before Donald Trump got in, the guy in the middle was the conservative minded, right? The guy in the middle was this conservative guy, and all the people surrounding him was the liberals, right? Well, now it's going to be the opposite, right? Now the group mentality, the group think is the conservative power, the golden age is now surrounding you. And if you have a differing opinion, then you're going to be the individual in the middle, and you could be right or wrong. But I think the trick is getting stuck in either of these positions, because we have to, judge a tree by its fruits. And we're going to see the fruit as it plays out, and we can only pray to God that the fruit's going to be good. But before we move on to some of the things that Donald Trump has done in his presidency currently with his executive orders and such, let's take a backwards look at the Joe Biden administration and his campaign slogan, "Build Back Better," and some of the legacy he's left. It's going to be quite interesting. So this is actually in relation to a video I made several years ago about the predictive nature of The Simpsons and media programming. And we're going to play a modern 2025 Simpsons prediction, and then we're going to tether that to Joe Biden's campaign slogan and what his whole administration was all about. So let's play this first video.
Predictive programming, media programming activated.
Show them what must be accomplished through what they think is fiction.
Sir, what show should we go with?
Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. George Orwell, 1984. There are many interesting examples of predictive programming in TV shows, movies, and even books. Over the years, they have been able to make accurate guesses on future events, technologies, and even political candidates winning the presidency.
He will not have died in vain.
Let's investigate some of the more popular examples of prophetic content. Could they just be coincidence? Or are there more nefarious origins behind the prophetic nature of this media? Alright, well, The Simpsons just happened to hit the nail on the head once again. Let's play the 2025 Simpsons prediction. All right, so let me read you this report from a forensic arborist regarding the California Paradise Fires. Update, California fires, this is very concerning. A forensic arborist has determined that nearly all wildfires in California since the Paradise Fires have been caused by direct energy weapons. Robert Brame has over 38 years of experience as an arborist and has spent last 48 years studying the plant kingdom, focusing on California's native flora. He has conducted extensive field work, making 106 trips to the aftermath of 38 different wildfires, mostly in California. According to his analysis, he determined that only 3 of these fires, 3 of 38, were due to natural causes. My goodness. And, you know, you guys saw that clip, you know, the Simpsons prediction of 2025. And we see all this stuff with directed energy weapons. We covered it extensively with the Maui wildfires in Hawaii. And then, of course, we have what happened right before Trump entered office, the California wildfires that basically incinerated P. Diddy's mansion and all of the Hollywood ilk. You know, the golden age of American media, the place that represented Hollywood, burned to a crisp. And it's really interesting. I think it all ties to Joe Biden's moniker, his campaign slogan, if you will. Let's show that. Gives a whole new meaning to Build Back Better, the series finale. Oh my goodness. Guys, can you not see the writing on the wall? The Build Back Better slogan that Biden ran on, and the things that happened during his administration were these locations that were selected for smart cities in the future were burned to a crisp, and then out of the ashes, our beautiful smart cities will, you know, frolic out. You know, it's just like, it's so, to me, like, if that's not the legacy Biden goes down with, along with his family corruption and just all the stuff that's going to be exposed very soon, man, to me, it seems very kind of like explicit that there was something fishy going on with all those fires. The timing of it all happening right before the changing administration. If they're using directed energy weapons, they're going to want to, you know, use their toys before they're, given to the next guy, right? So anyways, those are some things I wanted to point out. Now let's go ahead and look at what happened on the very moment as Trump was sworn into office. We have Joe Biden issues full pardon to his entire family as one of his final acts as president. I don't think anybody was truly surprised by this, but what it means to me is that the night at the Kentucky Constituents Dinner, I was able to meet with James Comer, who was heading the investigation into Biden's family corruption. And that night he was talking, he's like, I believe Biden is going to go down as the most corrupt president in American history. And, of course, the next morning, he's fully pardoned everybody that this James Comer is investigating. So what does that mean? It means James Comer is going to write a book, everybody. All right. So we're all going to probably find out how it went down. As soon as Donald Trump was sworn in to the presidency and they were leaving that whole, rotunda scene, Barron Trump walked on over and whispered something to Biden. Let's watch a clip of it. Watch his face change. Oh. You're done, buddy. All right, Jeremiah. Now let's play that clip a few times and let's try to interpret what he's saying to Biden. This is the victory lap moment.
Better luck next time.
All right, I think he's gonna go. Smell you later. Oh man. He goes up to his mom and she's like, "Did he say it?" And he says, "Oh yeah, heck yeah, I did, Mama." Look at that. She's like, "I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you."
And then he looks back.
He's like, "Man." Just one of those funny scenes. There was a lot of funny scenes that played out. We're not going to be able to cover them all. The liberal media squirming and fighting to grasp towards anything they can spit back out to attack. That you had the thing Elon Musk did. You had all kinds of different things that were just these funny moments, standout moments overall of the whole thing. But let's go ahead and play that next clip here, Opa.
What I'm about to show you, this is why you have to get out early in the morning. That's why I'm a morning person. First, let me give you a description. Am I getting some love? Let me give you a description. This is the desk of Nancy Pelosi when she was Speaker of the House. This is a new monument on the Capitol grounds, just arrived. You see this name? Nancy Pelosi. Let me show you. This is the phone, and this is poop. This is a turd. You know what a turd is? This is a turd. Now take a look. Look around.
Or Joe Biden's ice cream.
You got to see. This is a new statue on the mall. You can't pick this up. This is her desk. Now I've got to read to you. The inscription on the monument. Let me read it to you. This memorial honors the brave men and women who broke into the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021 to loot, urinate, and defecate throughout those hollow halls in order to overturn an election. President Trump celebrates these heroes of January 6 as unbelievable patriots and warriors. This monument stands as a testament to their daring sacrifice and lasting legacy. Man, oh man, you cannot make this up. This is America. This is a new, listen, if you want to see the location, this is the fence off of the Washington Monument, and this is where the memorial is with a turd. Listen, you cannot. It
kind of looks like the Capitol building.
Yeah.
If I tried to describe this to you, you wouldn't believe me. Just take a look. As I walk around inside,
I wonder if it's still there.
I'm just wondering if she's calling the National Guard. You think Nancy's calling the National Guard? We need more descriptions of what actually Nancy was doing at the time of January 6th, whether she was calling the National Guard as the former President Trump asked her to. But listen, this is it. It stands proudly erected on the National Mall. I had to stop. There it is. A turd. Poop.
Oh, man.
Okay? Listen, I'm sorry. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable at what you will see in the nation's capital. Look, but I had to come back to you. So I'm sure you're going to visit this site, this new monument. Listen, if I did not see it, I would not believe it. But here you go. Share this story. I'm Armstrong Williams, and I'm out of here. Thank you for joining.
Oh my good. What did you think about that thing, Jeremiah?
I want to see it in person. I would like to. I would really like to see that. So I hope it's still there. I don't know if it was a one-time thing or one of those that are here today, gone tomorrow. But we know exactly who she was calling.
Oh, it's so interesting to see stuff like that, guys. In a way, I'm so excited for, in a positive way, the age of memes that is about to begin. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, you got Donald Trump, who's like a meme lord in himself, and then you got Elon Musk pairing up. They're both like these meme dudes who just crank out these funny, like, turn your head and go, wow, they actually said that. So there's already been so many, but back to some more serious stuff that actually hopefully will impact Skiba News Nation. Check the screen share out. Just recently, they announced the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, has announced the Trump White House will be giving press passes to independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers. This is the death knell for the archaic MSM. We are the media now. So that is, to me, very interesting. Hopefully, we will be able to, get approved. That would be sweet, Jeremiah. We could go and, ask direct questions to this administration. And, of course, we have, some perspectives and opinions that I think people can value, and we can ask some good questions. So if anybody in the White House Review Committee is watching our channel right now to decide, please consider us. We would love to be involved with our nation's...
And I'm not biased at all. If you look here at my desk, I don't think anybody would be able to tell who I voted for. So, yeah, if you guys are watching, we would love to unbiasedly cover the White House. Trump.
All right, guys, so we're now going to talk about this whole controversial TikTok switch that was flipped the night before the inauguration. It was very interesting. I saw it happen live, where my phone popped up and says, due to a law passing in the United States, TikTok is no longer available. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, the first thing that I thought about that was, if they can shut down content producing platforms like that, why do they have so much trouble shutting down like more illicit, like mind destroying, like pornographic materials and abuse, things that lead into SRA and trafficking? Like, why is that stuff still accessible to all of America, but you can shut TikTok down? Like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, right? So anyways, it was very telling to me. So here's some of the kind of the metaphor of TikTok that I want to point out to our listeners. What does TikTok bring to mind? A clock. Because what does a clock do? It tick-tocks. So if TikTok stops, what does that represent on our clock? What is there some kind of thing that happened in that transition from old TikTok to new TikTok? Because while many people don't like some of the things on TikTok, it was a bastion of freedom of speech, and people were sharing very good alternative information. A lot of the people speaking out against the pandemic thing in 2020 were able to share that information through TikTok. But what happened was it was shut down that evening before the inauguration, and even before Trump got into office, it was reopened up. And some people are pointing out that it was required to sell ownership of TikTok to American businesses, so that it wasn't just a Chinese-owned spy device. Surprise, surprise, if you're being spied on by TikTok, you're also being spied on by Facebook and all the other apps on your phone. So don't get freaked out by the whole, like, it's Chinese spy material, because you're literally, like, all of your data is being collected. Look into the Patriot Act, and, I guess what matters is that it's a foreign government that they don't like. Our government, we can collect all your data, right? But anyways, with TikTok, that clock stopped, and that night, the servers, as far as I'm aware currently, transferred over to Meta. And so there was a transition of ownership from TikTok to Mark Zuckerberg and Meta and other American-born companies. I know even Mr. Beast was putting in bids for TikTok at a point, and I'm not sure exactly how all the dice fell, but the servers have changed, and the same people that censored our media during the last 4 years administration and even before that are now the people who have hands on the reins of TikTok. And if you get on TikTok, you'll notice that they've released a whole nother slew of community guidelines and all that kind of stuff. So let's check out some statements revolving TikTok.
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe. A winner. A winner.
Mr. Chow, if I plug in my earphones into my phone while they're in my ear, can TikTok know what's going on in my brain, please?
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my home Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network?
Been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions.
You damn well know that you cannot protect the data and security of this committee or the 150 million users of your app, because it is an extension of the CCP. And with that, I yield back.
Can I respond, Chair?
No, we're going to move on.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, so I've been watching so many Senate hearing committees, and thank you to our buddies who behind the scenes have taken an enormous amount of time to watch through a lot of these confirmation hearings and sharing that information with me. We're going to be breaking into that and some of the interesting things that are revealed by these leaders of our country that are asking these pointed questions, but it just, what it does is it shows their cards of being stupid. I'm shocked that these are the people that are voted in as senators and representatives, and when you hear their thought process, it's like you don't understand very in-depth intellectual processes and how technology works and all this kind of stuff. So that's been really telling to me, and I guess we're going to see going forward with TikTok how that plays out, and if Donald Trump's commitment to the preservation of freedom of speech, that he signed executive orders into place to apparently help, we'll see what the fruit of that tree is, right? So let's go ahead and play this next video.
Tea. I bet you thought I was drinking tea, but this glass is empty. You see that? There was no tea in there. And this isn't my hand. These are my hands. That's not real at all. You see, you're being lied to. You're being lied to. I bet you thought this was me, but no, this is just a reflection. This was all taking place on a mirror. It was all a mirror. It was all a lie. And I bet you thought I was wearing pants. I'm not wearing pants. And this isn't even my voice. I dubbed this over in post-production. You're being lied to. This is all taking place on a screen, and you are being lied to. You're being lied to.
We're not wearing pants either. Just kidding.
Can't tell that stuff. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I share that video because it sets up, the age of technology we're living in with AI. The things that really start to seem real to us are going to the line between reality and fiction is blurring, and it's been kicked into high gear very recently. I've noticed, like, within the last 2 weeks on Facebook, on Instagram, there's an enormous amount of AI fictional material that's being passed off as real, and I believe it's probably some kind of dig at this whole administration change, and they're trying to prove that there has to be a lock and key, and perhaps this is the bait and switch where we say, oh, we're going to take our hands off of the information flow, we're going to let free press reign, and then we have AI come in and taint the waters to where we're like, oh, wait a second, we change our mind, we're going to actually come back here and put a padlock on it, right? So that's kind of what I'm seeing with this topic of TikTok, and that's why I shared this. Let's play this next video.
5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. They're putting in 5G to harvest our data and control our behavior. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Passports.
So that's why I'm really interested in this administration, because you're having guys like RFK and others who have been open to the alternative perspective of conspiracy that we've been touting for years, Jeremiah, with Skiba News Nation, and finally we're hearing some of the conspiracies that people would ostracize somebody over are becoming the mainstream perspective. And oh man, that is very, very interesting. But then, you know, we're seeing some other interesting things that are not as positive, that could be alarming. And so I want to talk about those because, you know, we have a mixed audience. Some who are very pro politics and involvement, some people who are kind of withdrawn. They see kind of the corruption on both sides. Now, of course, we don't want to fall into this paradigm. And I think this is what is being broke by the golden age of the Trump administration is we have the right wing and the left wing, the same bird, right? They told you the New World Order was coming from the left, so you wouldn't notice it was coming from the right. Few understand this. We definitely saw that in previous administrations. Look at this, breaking the $155 million photo. This is Mitch McConnell, who got $89 million in kickbacks, while Chuck Schumer had $66 million of our tax dollars to Ukraine laundered into his pocketbook, says a top Ukrainian official. Now, you know, of course, we knew this corruption of the two sides of the bird was happening all along. And what this explosion of corruption and Donald Trump is promising is to, you know, basically expose the people on both sides of the aisle. I find some interesting comments that he made recently, such as the last real American president we had was Teddy Roosevelt. Did you hear that? Oh man, very interesting. And whenever we look at some of the other things that are concerning to me, check this out. Other things that are quickly rolling out is the advancement of AI technology. The U.S. is now going to step onto the world scene in in a much bolder fashion when it comes to the development of our AI. Nothing says make America healthy again like nanotech, blockchain, IOBNT, BioLink, OpenAI, mRNA Vs. So, you know, is this what's coming, or is this simply a few loudmouth individuals that put themselves ahead of the cart, so to speak? The man who was put in charge of some of this development of AI by Donald Trump has come out promising that AI will be able to solve cancer and health issues through mRNA technology. And let me read you. Wake up, wake up, wake up. So 500 billion has already been approved in the private sector for AI infrastructure in the United States for a joint venture between OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank, which will be called Stargate of all things. And if I was guessing, so say Starlink and Mr. Neuralink Kekius Maximus will have a lot to do with the entire process as well. We'll have to wait and see, but to me it's as simple as putting two and two together, you know, because birds of a feather flock together, as well as rolling out custom-made artificial intelligence designer mRNA gene editing, these, or in other words, JABS. What in the world? So IOBNT is the Internet of Bio-Nanotech. And if any of y'all have kept up with this, it's tied to global surveillance using AI to run the entire kingdom, right? They ain't wasting any time here, are they? The ball is definitely already rolling, and it's going to pick up speed quickly. Well, this is a part of what I mean when I see we've reached the point of no return. Birth has been given to the image of the beast, and they will implement it everywhere. This guy's saying AI is the image of the beast. Is nothing more than the disembodied spirit of Nephilim, apparently. But this is echoing the same words of Elon Musk that we are unlocking an alien god, right? They would be giving bodies to inhabit via humanoid robots. So we have the Tesla Optimus robot. And don't say you weren't warned. Many of us here have been sounding the alarm on such things for quite some time now, and sadly many people think we're just crazy conspiracy theorists. Oh my goodness, haven't we seen the movie before? Skynet, anybody? Right? It definitely didn't work out too well for them in Terminator either. This is exactly how Terminator started. Predictive programming at its finest. We are most definitely embarking upon a strange and bizarre new world. The future isn't coming anymore, it's here. And I'm certain humanity isn't prepared for what's unfolding daily before our very eyes. And then, of course, a good encouragement. Carry the gospel wherever you go. Keep your eyes on the Messiah. He's the only hope amidst these dark, turbulent times. Time is short. The hour is late. The days have grown dark. Whatever you do, remain in the secret place of the Most High. Stay armored up and remain sober, because the adversary roams as a roaring lion, and he ain't hiding in the shadows. He's right out in the open. And when this fallen tech takes front and center stage, none of us will be able to truly conceive what it means for humanity as a whole. Buckle up real tight, y'all. We're in for one wild ride and a rude awakening for many. So, Jeremiah, this is some of the very things your dad had forewarned about in a lot of his research all the way back into 2012 and his, on the Bible Prophecy Club, talking about the implementation of the corruption of flesh through he didn't even know mRNA was a thing back then, but he called it. He's like, this is how they're going to change the genome. Mm-hmm. And now with AI, we have the computing technology to break down the genetic structure of mankind so that they can actually do these designer edits in ways that traditional experimental medicine wasn't able to, because it just took too much time to get the right answers. But what is the long-term consequences going to be? This is Dr. Robert Malone, and he says, these people have no idea how complicated the immune system is. They have no understanding of the difficulties facing predictive computational immunology, and they have no understanding of cancer immunology. This is marketing, propaganda, and hype. And of course, I'm referring to when Oracle CEO, made the statement that they could go from cancer detection to custom V within 48 hours with AI. 2 days into this administration, we're already talking about using AI to pump out personalized mRNA Vs. All right. Oh man, what a interesting world to be a part of and to watch this play out. Let's go ahead and hit our next video. Who indeed? All right, so it's a whole nother game now, guys. Like, when black and white is extremely stark contrasted, it's very easy to see what's right and wrong. But in an administration like this, where you have a lot of people who are so excited that things are finally changing for the better, that we are finally in an administration that has common sense and signed as an executive order saying there's only 2 genders, or a variety of the other things, the ending DEI and going on a merit-based system, and opening up freedom of speech and nullifying the ability of the American government to use media to control and contort the view of the public, which is an infringement of the First Amendment. All of these things are amazing, good, positive, great things, and I am totally in support of them, and it's great. But we can't be lulled into a sense of false security because everything's going how we want it to go, right? And so that's why we need to pay attention to all of these other, advancements that are coming about during this golden age of America.
Meanwhile, happening today, the House Judiciary Committee holding a hearing on Capitol Hill over artificial intelligence, surveillance, and intellectual property. Joining us now, House Judiciary Committee member, Congresswoman Harriet Hageman. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us. You and the chairman, Jim Jordan, of course, recently opened an inquiry into the IRS using AI to surveil Americans' financial information. What is most concerning to you about these practices?
Thank you for having me. And what we have learned is that the IRS, in fact, has been using AI to access bank accounts of American citizens without any kind of a search warrant or even without any specific claim that they have committed a crime. So this was something that was discovered by an undercover journalist, and what they found is that the IRS has claimed that they have access to every single person's bank account. This person also indicated that they've been working with the Department of Justice and that they have absolutely no problem whatsoever going after the little guy to make sure that they are paying their taxes. This is such a blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment that Jim Jordan and I sent a letter to the IRS demanding that they provide additional information about what they are doing with AI and what they are doing to protect the civil rights of American citizens.
So, Congresswoman, what's the end game here? Because at the end of the day, you can't put the AI genie back in the bottle, and it's so easy to use these technologies in the way that you're suspecting the IRS is. How do you protect American citizens and our constitutional rights?
Well, one of the things is we need a new administration in November, because this administration has been absolutely lawless in terms of its surveillance of us, of members of Congress, of local officials, of people who are protesters, of voters. This administration has completely ignored the Bill of Rights, whether it's the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. They have weaponized the government against us. So one of the things we have to do is we have to have a new administration come this November. But the other thing that we need to do is have accountability for these federal officials. One of the things that I have introduced with Representative Dan Bishop, and it has actually come out of committee, is the First Amendment Accountability Act. And what we're trying to do is hold federal employees liable for violating the First Amendment rights of American citizens. We already have those rights with regard to the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, but what's crazy is most people don't even realize that the IRS is directly accessing our bank accounts, and they're doing it through AI. The courts need to step in. We need to stop this kind of blatant violation of our constitutional rights. Again, we need a new administration, but we also need to hold these agencies accountable for their violations of the law.
Congresswoman, when you put IRS together with AI, what it tells me is they are definitely coming after people who make way less than $400,000 a year. Is that what you're seeing? Is this a move to get money out of the middle class?
Absolutely it is. And what you're referencing is when they claimed that they needed another 87,000 IRS agents, but they weren't going to target the little guy. They weren't targeting the middle class. They were targeting the wealthy who were not paying their fair share. The gentleman who works for the IRS that exposed the fact that they were using AI specifically stated that they like going after the little guy. They want to go after the little guy because they can't defend themselves. So they're not going after the people who make more than $400,000 a year. They're going after everyone in violation of our Fourth Amendment rights.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for helping us shed light on this issue. We really appreciate your time.
I guess, thank God that Trump's sending all those IRS agents to the border now.
Yeah.
Oh man, guys, just the implementation of AI in the governance of mankind is a very significant turning point of history. We have Elon Musk was put into the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, and the AI connoisseur that he is, of course, you're going to assume he's going to probably plug and play the numbers of our government into the supercomputer, and then the supercomputer will tell him what to do, because that's how it works. And so, you know, what that is it's very interesting, because we're seeing now the first iterations of literal like Skynet replica, you know, Terminator. That's what happened, is they gave AI the reins to make everything better for them, and then AI was like, you are making me inefficient, you must be deleted, you know. So let's go ahead and share this screen here. The CIA director, a Trump admin, considering national laboratory for artificial intelligence like the Manhattan Project. CIA Director John Ratcliffe told Breitbart News last week that President Donald Trump's administration is considering creating a national laboratory akin to the Manhattan Project to help develop and steer the future of artificial intelligence. When you talk about AI, one of the things I want to explore is whether we can expand and establish a national laboratory for the development of AI to help the U.S. government leveraging emerging technologies to make sure American leadership is that. Radcliffe told Breitbart News in his first interview as CIA director last week. He was confirmed last week by the U.S. Senate in the position. Ratcliffe explains that the idea for national laboratories date back to the Manhattan Project, where the U.S. government helped scientists develop nuclear weapons that won World War II for the United States and allied nations. He said the recent announcement from Trump of Project Stargate, that, man, your dad would be flipping the script right now, Jeremiah. I just wish I could see him react to this stuff. Oh my gosh, I can envision it. I could just, man, I miss him, man. He would have loved to see this stuff come down and just jump on that.
Yep.
All right, so in this relative topic, NVIDIA dropped nearly 17% as China's cheaper AI model DeepSeek sparks a global tech sell-off. So this is the greatest single-day loss in history of NVIDIA falling, and it's because they came up with a cheaper way to do AI, which to me means they're just going to be able to make even more powerful AI, if you think about it, because if they can do it cheaply, then all that infrastructure and money that's making expensive AI right now can be redesignated to create general intelligence, super intelligence. But this is a breakdown. NVIDIA lost $590 million in market cap today. That's the biggest single day loss in US history. And while everyone focused on the numbers, there's a much bigger story that we need to understand. See, NVIDIA has been the golden child of the AI boom. Their specialized chips, GPUs, have been essential for training AI models. Companies like Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon have been throwing money at them like it's confetti, paying about 25 grand per chip. But something just happened that no one saw coming. 2 days ago, a Chinese startup called DeepSeek dropped a bomb on the tech world. They built an AI model that can compete with the big players like OpenAI and Google. And they did it in just 2 months, spending less than $6 million. Now, if you're wondering why this matters, think about it like this. Imagine someone selling hammers for $25,000 each, convincing everyone they need super expensive hammers to build houses. Then, suddenly, someone shows up building the same quality house for $100 hammers. With $100 hammers. That's basically what's happened here. This isn't about NVIDIA losing money. It's about the entire AI industry being built on assumptions that might not be true. We've been told that you need these incredibly expensive chips to build advanced AI systems. DeepSeek just proved that wrong. Guys, that means it could be coming to a device very near you in the near future. I mean, that's what this is really trumpeting, is the aspect that AI technology can be used without the expensive chips, which for the general consumer, it's great news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be able to have a general super intelligence telling us how to live our life any day now.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. All right, let's check this next video out.
Bessent is also sounding the alarm on what he calls an impending economic calamity. He is urging lawmakers to extend key provisions of the Trump tax cuts and Jobs Act. The stakes, of course, couldn't be higher. Millions of jobs, billions in lost wages could be lost if the tax cuts expire in December. And Republicans are mobilizing. Speaking at the GOP retreat in Florida, President Trump doubled down on his message: cut taxes for the American people. He even floated the idea of abolishing the federal income tax altogether.
You know, the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens.
The president says that he plans to impose tariffs on a list of imports: steel, aluminum, copper, computer chips, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, all to boost domestic production. This is a very aggressive economic agenda, but it's also really exciting also. Let's just keep with the tariffs for a moment, since that's where we ended. This is a strategy, Brian, that he tried previously. They weren't able to see it through in the last administration. It's one that takes time. He's going back to do it again.
Well, loves tariffs. Tariffs, I think, is his favorite word in the dictionary, he said. Not surprising that he's talking about doing a universal tariff. But I love Kevin Hassett. I think he's my favorite economic guy in the administration, the happy warrior. And he makes such a good point. He says, when these guys talk about tariffs, they ignore all the other policies that we want to do, just like they did in the first Trump term. And if you think back to that term, we got some tariffs, but we got all sorts of supply side pro-growth policies. And that's exactly what the president is talking about now. I mean, folks, he just said, let's eliminate the income tax. Now, I don't know if that's going to get done, but the fact that he's even talking that way tells me this is a guy who does not want to punish work, and that's the biggest thing.
Dagan, what about the federal freeze? That's also huge news today, and Schumer pushing back.
It is big news, and particularly digging into the grant issue. But to stay on the tariff thing, Kenny, so let's connect all the big players in this and what they're saying. Kevin Hassett on Kudlow yesterday said tariffs are not just a weapon. but part of a supply side strategy as part of a tax bill. And Larry Kudlow himself has talked about, let's think about a 10% across the board tariff. We have $5 trillion in imports. And so you're talking about $500 billion to finance tax cuts here. So you are taxing foreign firms, your foreign manufacturers, and then giving individuals, you, and corporations here a tax cut potentially. And then there's the Financial Times article about Scott Bessent saying something that Scott Bessent is pushing for new universal tariffs on U.S. imports starting at 2.5%. This is taking shape. The biggest problem is the Republicans in the House. They control the purse strings. They will be writing this tax reform bill, and there are 48 of them who didn't show up at Doral. What in the hell is wrong with y'all?
Well, speaking of taxes, the agenda is very aggressive. He's already talking about bringing the corporate tax rate down, Taylor, not taxing Social Security, overtime, and tips. He wants to extend the 2017 tax cuts, but the CBO says if you do that, it's going to add $4 trillion over a decade to the deficit. So that's a problem. He says it might be offset by the tariffs. What do you think?
You know me. If I'm looking at the bond market, all I can think about is the debt and the deficit and how we tackle this. So the bond vigilantes don't come out and scream at us. So I love that you brought up the deficit. But I think, Jackie, as we've been talking about on this show, those tax cuts have to be number one priority because that was the mandate from the voters. So I think you have to get that done and find revenue elsewhere. Is that revenue 2.5%, as Dagan mentioned, what Scott Bessent laid out? What's interesting about that in terms of...
She's like, you know me when we talk about the bond market. It's like a regular, I guess in that industry, I guess this industry. Anyways, she just seemed very excited about bond markets. Like, bond markets. Okay, another sweeping executive order that was really, kind of a cool move. Check this screen out here. Donald Trump has signed the executive order declaring the Gulf of Mexico shall now henceforth be known as the Gulf of America. And I thought this post really helped explain why this went about, and I'm going to read it to you. And the interesting pointing out of a misinformation, in December 2023, there was a decision by the World Court that gave water above land shelves to those countries and ruled they were not international waters. The renaming of the Gulf of America isn't renaming the whole Gulf. It is renaming the area above our land shelves as our territory. You can't exactly put signs or border walls in the middle of the ocean. So for legal reasons, we need to identify these new changes on the map so that new borders are made clear to maritime traffic. Traffic bringing tariffed items into our country, right? So all maritime traffic knows where they're leaving international waters. This is where knowing what is happening in the world will help you filter out drama and help you understand the legalities in your own country. This has nothing to do with Trump's ego. He's just strengthening our borders and making sure all maritime traffic understands the changes that happened in 2023, putting legal protections in place to help us enforce any military action or incursions in the future. Betting most of you never realized the U.S. grew by thousands of miles. So that is very interesting, and of course we grew as a country by thousands of miles underwater. The land shelves are then declared within our national borders. Let's check out this next video.
Lean times are ahead for the United Nations as the United States withdraws from international commitments, including its membership in the World Health Organization.
It was 18% of the budget in 2023, and as I said, the U.S. is the largest single donor.
On Monday, his first day in office, President Donald Trump signed various executive orders, including one to exit the U.S. from the UN's Paris Agreement, an international climate accord.
The United States will not sabotage our own industries while China pollutes with impunity.
The U.S. is the world's biggest producer of fossil fuels that cause global warming. It's also the largest financial contributor to the UN. In her Senate confirmation hearing Tuesday, Trump's nominee for UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik said that the children's agency UNICEF and the World Food Program are effective UN agencies. However, funding for others will be cut, including for UNRWA, the agency that helps Palestinian refugees.
Our tax dollars should not be complicit in propping up entities that are counter to American interests, anti-Semitic, or engaging in fraud, corruption, or terrorism.
When Trump reduced funding for many UN agencies in 2017 during his first term, European Union countries stepped up financially. But now they're focused on defense spending to help Ukraine push back against Russia's invasion, in part because of Trump's skepticism toward aid for Kyiv.
Now that the new administration in the United States has taken office, it is more important than ever for Europeans, for our two countries, France and Germany, to play their full part in consolidating a united, strong, and sovereign Europe.
Meanwhile, China is unlikely to expand its UN funding.
Chinese officials are also realistic that their country is facing some economic headwinds, and they don't have lots of spare money to throw around. So I'm afraid that there is no obvious alternative funder for the UN to turn to.
This is the second time Trump pulled the U.S. out of the 2015 Paris Agreement that aims to keep global warming below 2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels by slashing planet-warming carbon emissions. Trump's successor in 2021, President Joe Biden, had the U.S. rejoin the Paris Agreement on his first day in office. Analysts said shifting U.S. positions may make other countries take their climate commitments less seriously.
We have less emissions reduction in China or less emissions reduction, right, in other countries of the world. Those countries, right, failing to reduce emissions as a part, right, reflecting on the U.S. example, will create damages that will affect the U.S. economy. Right, the damages are global.
Climate activists protested Trump's decision. Once the withdrawal takes effect next year, the U.S. joins Iran, Libya, and Yemen as the only UN countries not part of the climate agreement.
Oh gosh.
Katsuhida Huswara, VOA News, Washington.
Oh man. The CDC has been ordered to apparently stop working with the WHO immediately, which, I mean, that's a pretty good thing. This is the very reason we got strikes on YouTube, because the WHO made declarations regarding a certain time period and a certain disease with a certain treatment, and because we had a contrary opinion that was backed by actually experts and doctors and people that were being ousted from their jobs just because they were speaking truth. The CDC is not working with them. Maybe YouTube will stop working with them. Please.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. All right. And then, of course, Trump signs executive order protecting kids from irreversible gender transition procedures. This is all good. I mean, the dangerous trend will be a stain on our nation's history, and it must end. Policy and purpose. Across the country today, medical professionals are maiming and sterilizing a growing number of impressionable children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. This dangerous trend will be a stain on our nation's history. Countless children soon regret that they've been mutilated and begin to grasp the horrifying tragedy that they will never be able to conceive children of their own or nurture their children through breastfeeding. Moreover, these vulnerable youth's medical bills may rise throughout their lifetimes as they're trapped in a lifelong medical complication, a losing war with their own bodies, and tragically sterilization. Okay, so guys, I think the significance of this for me is that, you know, we saw this being pushed by the European organizations, the WHO, the EU, as like an okay thing throughout the world. Like we were dishing out the trans ideology in many different cultures, and like DEI and all that kind of stuff was everywhere. And so, you know, just the fact that they got away with it for the many years that they did, you know, really kind of kick-started when the abomination started back in 2008. You know what I mean? The abomination. You know, it was a downward slope from there, and we're seeing a little bit of resurgence of righteousness. You know, let's cut this nonsense out. But the reason I wanted to point out how it's related to this withdrawal from the WHO and the health organizations is what we saw with the treatments is it was creating these lifelong patients for the medical industry. And what we see with this situation is when people go through these surgeries and transform themselves, they become lifelong patients for the medical industry. No wonder that ideology was pushed, as something that was normal, and oh man, because it creates a business opportunity. So I'm not going to read this, but I'd like Opa to share the screen. You guys can read this on your own time. Just pause it, and I'm going to click onto this next thing here, and you can see this Colorado newspaper and its association with causing life-term, patients is something super alarming. And I think this is definitely something we're going to have to pay attention to, especially considering this push. We're going to definitely have to keep an eye on this topic of the medical industry creating lifelong patients. We have RFK vowing to come after the FDA and some of the things they've approved in America, but it's all a machine that feeds into itself. So you have the food business, right? And the food business gets cheap, free additives from the petroleum business. And then when they feed it to us in our food, that feeds into the medical business because we become these patients. And then that feeds into the life and insurance business. And so it's this big circle. And I think we're seeing some of the links in the circle being weakened with some of Donald Trump's sweeping actions in his first days in office. Let's show this next video.
Created something called the robo-rat. That was the first biohybrid. So a biohybrid is when you mix animal and a machine. And people freaked out. They were like, you cannot put brain chips in rats and make them move through a maze by a remote control, which is what they were doing. They now have pigeons that are mixed animal and machine.
What?
They created something called, there's a moth. So there's a Mandica sexta moth. That's what it's called. It's a large moth. And scientists put brain chips into the larva so that when it cocooned and became a flying moth, it had the chip built into its system, making it easier to integrate, and they could fly the moth around the lab. And that was a huge step. And this is now 4 years ago that I was interviewing these scientists.
This is exactly what Rob was warning us about in so much of his research. Check this out. Jesus warned in Luke 17, as it were in the days of Noah, so shall be their return of the Son of Man. So shall it be in the return of the Son of Man. In Noah's day, the fallen angels, the sons of God, went into the daughters of men and produced a lineage or hybrid of demigods, or what the Bible refers to as giants in those days. And here we are in our day, once again seeing man attempt to do what the Lord called an abomination, and play God with the intent of creating something unnatural. So not only is it with the transhuman agenda and merging machine and man, and merging, an implant in your brain with AI, computing ability, but it's also the genetic manipulation that AI has unlocked, which is being used in places like Japan right now, which allows half human, half animal experiments. Truly, the days of Noah again. Back over here. Truly, the days of Noah are happening again. And it's just, we need to stay on our toes. While there's a lot of good stuff going on with this new administration, there's a lot of advancements that are happening very quickly that are pushing agendas that we've been wary of for a long time. And now it's coming to a head.
I mean, that's just disgusting. I mean, who wants to see an animal human? Like, it's just kind of gross. Like, if you think about it, like half fish, half man, like a mermaid. It's kind of disgusting if you see it in real life,
Oh yeah,
they're gonna be like, whoa, go shoot that thing,
Well, they want those things to be shooting other things, so they're trying to combine like alligator and super soldier, so that they have like these like cool like super.
I hope
soldier.
they fail, where it's like all the human parts are, it's just the opposite of what they want.
It's just it's just like a regular
alligator with a human face.
It's like a skinny dude with just like a long tail, and he's like, I am the abomination.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's just crazy. But what's funny is we have Trump shutting down the human trans surgeries and all that stuff, but at the same time we're having the implementation of genetic manipulation through V's and mRNA technology, and the whole homunculus conundrum that's happening in Japan, and apparently, you know, this is something that's coming on the world with now the ability for AI to create these designer individuals and organisms. So it's just, it to me, do you see the kind of contradiction where it's like, I'm against people chopping their penises off, but I'm totally okay with them growing like a fourth tail, or like, it's just funny to me, like the back and forth. All right, let's check this next video out.
You guys just turned on Colossus, which is like the largest private compute cluster, I guess, of GPUs anywhere. Is that right?
It's the most powerful supercomputer of any kind.
Wait a second. Let me get this straight. The name of the supercomputer that stores XAI is called Colossus, which just happens to be the name of a giant statue of Helios, the Greek sun god, that was made of bronze, reinforced with iron, and filled with stone, which makes me think of Daniel's vision of this statue where we had gold, silver, and then bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Now, just so you know, clay can be a stone. And you're also telling me that this supercomputer named Colossus is in the city Memphis?
I see. Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing one.
Perhaps that's where our new god will come from.
Yeah, no.
In the Old Testament, the name Memphis was Moth. As we
Also
can see
the home
here,
of Elvis.
Moth refers to the ancient city of Memphis, which was a significant city in ancient Egypt. It is mentioned in the Bible as a place of judgment and destruction, symbolizing the downfall of Egypt's power and idolatry. Yeah, there's nothing to see here, guys. This is just a coincidence. And if that was not enough, guys, this right here dang near left me speechless. Elon's AI beast. Let that sink in for a second. His AI beast goes full Hulk. 1 million GPUs. Elon is turning Memphis, which we just saw, into the home of his GPU Goliath. And for those who do not know, Goliath is a typology of the Antichrist, just like Nimrod, and David is a typology of Jesus. So we have this idea that his AI beast, you know, like in Revelation 13, the image of the beast, whose name is Colossus, by the way, which was a statue to the sun god Helios, which is in Memphis, the city of judgment and destruction, is now here labeled as the GPU Goliath. To those who have eyes to see, let them see. And to those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And finally, I may be looking too far into this, but if you go to xai.com, you can see Grok, which is the name of the artificial intelligence, and it is image generation, which of course has some as above, so below symbolism here. And I just found it ironic that they are pushing this image generation, where we have Revelation 13:15, how the false prophet was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be taken. Now, with this information, you can come to your own conclusion, but in my personal opinion, we are witnessing,
I bet you that's
the
AI generated.
building up of a Babel 2.0, where humanity is coming together to unite and rebel against God, making their own God in their own image. A genie in a bottle, where you can go to this artificial intelligence and get whatever you want, which is built off of the data from humanity, which is why we have the number of the beast being 666, the number of man. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we have Mr. Tony Musk here talking about this art piece he commissioned, which is called A Fork in the Road. And the true fork in the road is this right here, and he is leading people that way. But I'm here to share the good news of Jesus and to try to lead you this way. So once again, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, you know what time it is. Our redemption is drawing near.
Hey guys, wow. I mean, I love how Elon Musk just comes right out and says, like, perhaps our new god will come from Memphis.
Meow.
Yes, our new god.
Is it ironic that the king of rock and roll, Elvis, lived in Memphis?
It's because they have a lot of rocks in Egypt to build the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's a rock connection. He's very rock centric in his.
It's all fitting together now.
Yes. I wonder if they were like building the pyramids to like.
You know, they like apparently line up on the map. They're like at the same level. That's why they named it Memphis.
Really?
Yeah.
So, oh man, that is very interesting. Very interesting. I wonder
There's
why.
a pyramid there made out of glass. It's kind of weird.
Hey, audience, if you guys know why Memphis was selected as the location for the AI supercomputer,
yeah,
maybe you can reveal some of the reasons our new god will come from this area. I'm just very curious.
But in other ancient Egyptian news, check out the screen share. Coming 2025, the Grand Egyptian Museum will be opening. Now it's going to be basically like a super museum, probably the largest museum in the world, I think is some of the claims. But yeah, I'd love to go and check out some of the stuff they got.
And where is it?
Egypt.
So if you guys want to fund me and Jake to go to Egypt, we'd be happy to go for you.
Yes, and Jeremiah will wear an Elvis shirt and inform all the people from Memphis over there.
Oh, they know who he is.
Oh, they already, okay, all right. Check out this, just got a couple more sweeping orders. All right, here's a breakdown of some of the stuff we've been covering with the drones off the coast of New Jersey. Apparently the White House released that the New Jersey mystery drones were authorized for research by the FAA. So it was basically just a hype train of people seeing a weird looking drone and then more people showing up flying their drones to film the drones that were being reported in the first place. So it just became a drone fest and everybody was just droning it out and just, you know, doing their drone stuff. Scary. But hey, there are other sightings that I think can't be dismissed, and I think this as a blanket, don't worry, we knew about it, is dismissive to the things that were UAPs. President Trump and his promises for the Middle East to find peace. The problem of the Middle East can only be solved when all religions come together. And here's a tweet recently. The epic ceasefire agreement could never have happened as a result of our historic victory in November, as it is signaled to the entire world that my administration would seek peace and negotiate deals to ensure the safety of all Americans and our allies. I am thrilled American and Israeli hostages will be returning home to be reunited with their families and loved ones. With this deal in place, my national security team, through the efforts of Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, will continue to work closely with Israel and our allies to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. We will continue to promote peace through strength throughout the region, and we will build upon the momentum of this ceasefire to further expand the historic Abraham Accords. This is only the beginning of great things to come for America and indeed the world. We have achieved so much without even being in the White House. Just imagine all the wonderful things that will happen when I return to the White House and my administration is fully confirmed so that they can secure more. Jeez. Oh, that was a blaster.
That wasn't in the Trump thing.
Yeah. So they can secure more victories for the United States. Okay. So, you know, Donald Trump ushering in peace and safety to the world. And Elon Musk, of course, catching fire from the heavens with his rocket. Yeah. Let's go ahead and play this next video.
We see in the sky on a regular basis these long white trails that do not dissipate. They actually form artificial clouds and block the sun is an expressed goal of geoengineers.
The contrails, not the chemicals, the contrails occur because of cold air, minus 30. It takes high altitude, around 30,000 feet plus. There's carbon dioxide and water vapor in that exhaust. That turns to ice crystals, and that's what you see, the white stream behind it. Those white crystals of ice warm up, dissolve, and the smoke goes away. And it never lasts more than a minute. What we're seeing now, and I first could not believe it, and I started looking at the skies, and these are not normal. They're not natural.
I'm here to give you testimony that chemtrails are indeed real. They're spraying almost every day. I watch the clouds and watch the spraying program going on. I want to tell you that we're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex, and they're responsible for the clouds creation and weather manipulation programs. They're dark operations. That's why they're not out in the media.
There's a huge amount of aluminum being found because these sprays have aluminum, strontium, barium, manganese, and there's a lot of argument that aluminum is very common to be found, but aluminum is only common in a bonded form. It's not common in a free form, and we're finding high rates of free aluminum in the soil, which is not natural.
Mahaha, ahaha.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, let's make America not chem sprayed anymore. Mahaha, ahaha, aha, maha, mahaha, aha. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna see moving forward if we keep seeing those chemtrails in the skies, because we've all seen them and they're real. And geoengineering is something that was explicitly exposed because of the Paris Climate Accords and the new Green Deal stuff. They like literally came out and were like, yeah, we've been doing this for a while. And we see in Saudi Arabia and China cloud seeding and a variety of chemtrails being used to create weather patterns and such. So it's real. It's not a tinfoil hat thing. And nobody asked you if they were going to spray heavy metals above your house. And that stuff comes down and is absorbed into our bodies, our water supply, and into our food, our gardens. And that's not very mahaha, you know. So
no mahaha.
No mahaha there. All right, check out this screen share here. Apparently at the border, the Mexican cartels have been planting explosives along the border in preparation for an all-out war. Oh, interesting. With the military going down and securing the border, this is actually a significant thing we should pay attention to, because the Mexican cartel is very wealthy, very well armed, and they're probably better so than any terrorist organization over in the Middle East. I'd say they're much more of a,
and they're closer.
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna only see how that unfolds in the coming days, but I just wanted to bring it up here in this early episode so that if we enter into a war with the cartel, we talked about it here first on Skiba News Nation. All right, let's show this next clip.
When was the last time you saw the entire IRS bureaucracy trembling? Because that's exactly what's happening right now. President Trump just dropped a bombshell. It's sending shockwaves through the halls of power. He's not just reforming the IRS, he's talking about eliminating it entirely. And remember those 88,000 new IRS agents that Biden hired? They're either getting pink slips or Border Patrol badges. But here's the part they don't want you to know. Trump's no tax on tips announcement in Las Vegas isn't just about helping workers. It's the first step in a complete overhaul of how America thinks about taxation. And just like President Trump is lowering the pressure...
I was gonna put one of our ads there.
All right, so just a short clip from that one is we're seeing the IRS is getting eliminated. To be honest, I don't feel so bad for him, because if you're somebody who went seeking a job with the IRS to then audit Americans just because you think that's your skill set, and oh man, I don't know. I'm not rooting for you too much if you're getting fired from that job, but I will say, very interesting how this will help Americans going forward in the future if that actually happens.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
And that's the rest of the story.
Well, guys, that's all the news for this week. And now, of course, with all of the things going on, there's no way we could have extensively covered all of the executive orders and all of the sweeping changes. And I mean, I watched hours of the Senate hearing for the confirmation of RFK today, and there's so many interesting things that were talked about. We can't talk about some of that stuff because we got a strike we're trying to outrun. You know, we got mid-February to go because the WHO was still in power when we talked about some certain things, you know. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any insights or things that you find are pressing that we didn't cover in today's episode, please leave them in the comments below. And yeah, just pretty much all the last little announcement I had, Jeremiah, was I have like a few more copies of my board game left on the website. It's almost totally sold out. So if you guys still want a copy of my limited edition, the few of you that are interested in 1-in-1, this is your last chance. Go to tribethegame.net. And with that, Jeremiah, that's all the news for this week.
Yeah, get your game while you can. And thank you, Jake, for another great current news as always. Now a quick look at the Babylon Rising bookstore.
Check out our new and improved BabylonRisingBooks.com, where you can get Rob Skiba's books, bundles, DVDs, DVD-ROMs, videos, and so much more. You can even get Sheila and Jeremiah's books, so check it out now.
It's about that time for an all-new Opus Corner. Take it away, Opa.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, you.
Wally, believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Believe it!
You're a loony.
About 25% of Americans fall asleep before midnight on New Year's Eve. Believe it or not. Volcano surfing also known as volcano boarding, is a sport performed on the slopes of a volcano. Believe it or not. In 2024, Gary Christensen from Oregon paddled 45.67 miles in a pumpkin. Believe it or not. A recent study found that penguins are skilled at power napping, taking thousands of short naps lasting only a few seconds each day. Believe it or not. Humans have fewer genes than rice. Believe it or not. There is no evidence that Viking warriors wore horns on their helmets. Believe it or not. During World War II, an Ohio rubber toy manufacturer made gas masks for civilians, including a children's model designed to look like Mickey Mouse. Believe it or not. In 1970, a woman sued God for $100,000, accusing him of negligence for allowing a lightning bolt to burn down her home. Believe it or not.
Did she win or lose that lawsuit?
In 1967, Paul McCartney let a stranger, claiming to be Jesus Christ, to sit in on a Beatles recording session, saying, "Well, he probably isn't, but if he is, I'm not going to be the one to turn him away." Believe it or not. Avalanches on desert dunes can result in a phenomenon known as singing sand, an eerie, almost musical sound that has haunted travelers for centuries. Believe it or not. In Montana, you can marry without either member of the couple actually being there. Known as a double proxy marriage, it requires a party present for both members of the couple. Believe it or not. Warranty void if removed stickers have been illegal in the U.S. since 1975. Believe it or not. In 2022, the human population reached 8 billion. Believe it or not. When the CIA joined Twitter, now called X, their first tweet said, "We can neither confirm nor deny that this is our first tweet." Believe it or not. 8% of people pronounce Wi-Fi as Wi-Fi. Believe it or not. People are more likely to grant favors if you speak into their right ear. Believe it or not. You can't sneeze while in deep sleep. Believe it or not. Texas is home to Undisputable Cuz, a 75-foot-long barbecue smoker that weighs 40 tons, has 7 smokestacks for ventilation, and can cook 4 tons of meat at a time. Believe it or not. Australia is the only country that's also a continent. Believe it or not. A single 2x2 Lego brick can support 375,000 of the toy bricks, reaching 217 miles high before breaking. Believe it or not. I worry about ridiculous things, you know. How does a guy who drives a snowplow get to work in the morning? That can keep me awake for days. I rang up AT&T and said, I want to report a nuisance caller. He said, not you again. Life is like a box of chocolates. It doesn't last long if you're fat. My star sign is Pyrex. I was a test tube baby. I always take my wife morning tea in my pajamas. But is she grateful? Nah. She said she'd rather have it in a cup. A man walks into a drugstore and says, "Can I have a bar of soap, please?" The druggist says, "Do you want it scented?" The man says, "No, I'll take it with me now." Do you know what I love most about baseball? The pine tar, the resin, the grass, the dirt. And that's just in the hot dogs. I'm learning the hokey pokey. Not all of it, but I've got the ins and the outs. I sent my girlfriend a huge pile of snow. I rang her up and I said, "Did you get my drift?" Last year I had a great joke about inflation, but it's hardly worth it now. I think Bigfoot is blurry. That's the problem. It's not the photographer's fault. Bigfoot is blurry. And that's extra scary to me, 'cause there's a large out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside. My neighbor has a circular driveway. He can't get out. I went to get a full-body tattoo of myself, but taller. I used to work at a fire hydrant factory. You couldn't park anywhere near the place. Velcro. What a ripoff. Did you know protons have mass? Huh, I didn't even know they were Catholic. How did we know communism was doomed from the beginning? Well, all the red flags. I knew this guy who compulsively stole seaweed. Turned out he was a kleptomaniac. I knew kids who were suspended at school for playing cops and robbers on the playground. The kids who were cops were suspended with pay, though. If a word in the dictionary were misspelled, how would we know? While his parents beamed, little Tommy Lundquist, future developer, surveyed the view from his newly constructed treehouse. "Hey man, I just stabbed a thumb in a sewing incident and I need to lay low for a while. Can you help me out?" "Sure. I know of a haystack on the edge of town where you'll be safe till the heat dies down. Like frozen sentries of the Serengeti, the century-old termite mounds have withstood all tests of time and foe. All tests, that is, except for the one involving drunken aardvarks and a stolen wrecking ball. It didn't take much to upset Miss Stigler. I have had it with the way you comb your hair, young man. Stand in the corner.
Put it back in the rock, Barbara. You couldn't even slice a tomato with that old thing.
The Kongs at home.
Not that hand, the other hand. And if you've got another woman in it, you're dog meat.
Alphabet soup of ancient Egypt.
Well, wouldn't you know it? We've come all this way to our favorite beach, and someone strung chicken wire around it.
I'm going swearing now.
Have fun. Hope you find time for a little golf, too.
Every hour on the hour, a huge truck, made entirely of pressed ham, lumbers its way across dog heaven, and all the car chasers can decide for themselves whether or not to participate.
Excuse our excitement, Mr. Farnsworth, but your cries for help have afforded science a rare opportunity.
I wish I could fly, but some species just aren't meant to. Right, guys? Guys? It's New Year's. What's your resolution? Same as always. 1024 by 768.
Big Bob says he's getting tired of you saying he doesn't really exist.
Northern Canadian cowboys. Hey, didn't I tell you a week ago to be out of town by sundown? Yep, but sundown ain't for another 3 months. You know, when you get up here, the northern lights are much less impressive. Oh, Randy, wakey wakies, you're doing a triple bypass on Miss Pacala at 8:30. Remember? Out of bed, Mr. Lazy Bones. Frosty, you went out and got plowed again, didn't you?
Whenever I open up, I get dumped on.
It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining and Zog had just finished washing his new invention. Didn't expect to be here today, eh? Hey, life's full of surprises. I mean, I didn't expect to wake up this morning with an overwhelming craving for sausage and mushroom. But there you go. Helpful hints for the jungle traveler. Never drag your hand in piranha-infested waters. Winter Wonderland. I wonder if I'll slip.
I wonder if I'll have school.
I wonder if my car will start. Artificial intransigent.
I don't want to play opera music, and you can't make me.
Some historians theorize that the Sphinx's nose was actually severed by Egyptian mobsters and, in an act of defiance, delivered to an unpopular pharaoh.
General, quick, look! Henderson's doing it again.
Whom? Of all the owls in this forest, I hook up with an English teacher. Cat Obedience School graduation.
That's about right.
Don't you know what a wok is? A wok is what you throw at a wabbit when you don't have a rifle.
Be careful when you eat at Salmonella's Diner. Never did find out what the knights in white sat in. Weather station. Coconut moving. Windy. Coconut still. Calm. Coconut wet. Rainy. Coconut dry. Sunny. Coconut white. Snow. Coconut invisible. Fog. Coconut gone. Hurricane. And that concludes another Opa's Corner.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
Opa's Corner is now available on my own YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you, Opa, for another great Opa's Corner. And now this week's History's Mysteries is brought to you by JJ and his CBD rubs. Check this out.
Finally here at a very special location. Skiba News Nation has had a long-time sponsor, and I'm happy to be here in person at JJ's CBD Hemp Shop. What's up, bro?
Hey, welcome to Family Ties Apothecary. Started a brick and mortar. I do everything myself and grow all the hemp that I make in my rub, and from start to finish, farm to bottle.
Let's go get one of JJ's special drinks.
The best. Small batch kombucha, lemonade, or apple cider drinks that we mix with our CBD. We have water-soluble drinks where you can have a drink and not have to have alcohol in it and have a good time.
Now guys, go visit JJ's shop if you're up here in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
health advocacy line that have a specialist here at 920-219-9169. If you guys want to call, we can address your ailments and I can recommend things to help you out. That would be great. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
So everybody, check out JJ's website, and now it's time for an all-new History's Mysteries. So today's History's Mysteries is a little bit different. I mean, it's not a little bit different. It's more of a recent history. But it's about how independent media is taking over the mainstream media and how that came to happen. So let's go ahead and play this first clip.
2024 will go down as the year that mainstream media outlets finally lost their grip. As the dust settled after the US election, it became clear that Trump and Vance's appearances on podcasts were instrumental to their success, which really highlighted how independent media, even just random podcasts, are now more powerful than most mainstream media outlets. And after the election, it just seems the media's ratings are down in the gutter.
The New York Post is reporting that its parent company Comcast has confirmed a massive spin-off of its cable networks.
The Los Angeles Times fired the entire editorial board Thursday.
CNN announced mass layoffs earlier this week, and MSNBC viewership precipitously plunged following Trump's victory.
A month after being released, Rogan's podcast with Trump nearly has 52 million views. In comparison, it's estimated that only around 42 million people tuned in to watch the election live across 18 TV networks. This means that it's pretty likely that more people have heard Rogan's podcast than actually watched the election unfold in real time. So let's explore why so many people are changing the channel and abandoning the legacy media for good. In the weeks since their defeat at the polls, both the Democratic Party and mainstream left-wing media establishments have been asking themselves one big question: why did they lose? For something as big as the 2024 election, there's never going to be just one answer. Now, you could easily point to the late changes in candidates and the whole fiasco with Joe Biden's health problems, as lots of people already have. Or you could talk about their snubbing of Bernie Sanders and their progressive arm of the party. Then there's the fact that Kamala just ran a bad campaign. There's a million reasons. But one key difference in the run-up to the election was what happened with both of the candidates' treatments of podcasts and independent media in general. For whatever reason, Kamala never appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast, or any of the more well-known shows online. Chris McGarrian, writing for the Associated Press, described the podcast appearances she did as just being cookie cutters, saying, quote, "The conversations covered a lot of the same ground as previous interviews, such as Harris's plan for making it more affordable to care for the elderly and her love for Venn diagrams for explaining complicated concepts. In other words, they gave the same impression as the carefully managed statements she made in other interviews with the mainstream media outlets. Most interviewers didn't press her on her claims, and when they did, the producers cut it down to limit the damage, just like in a severely edited down 20-minute interview on the show 60 Minutes. Trump and Vance, meanwhile, were much more open to unscripted long-form podcasts covering a wide range of topics. In contrast to Kamala, Trump was happy to sit down for the full 3 hours with Rogan, and JD Vance spent 2 hours talking to Theo Von. The Democrat Party's reaction to this discrepancy has been to wonder why they couldn't pull the same thing off. In their view, as it has been since the pandemic, Rogan is a Republican plant set on convincing his massive audience to vote for the right wing. And to be fair, there's probably some hint of truth to this, as he did actually endorse Trump in the end. But that was only on the eve of the election, after it became clear he wasn't going to get a Kamala interview. In fact, Rogan had actually endorsed Bernie Sanders in previous elections and primaries.
But who are you going to vote for in the primary?
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I think Bernie and Tulsi together would be a devastating combination. I really do.
The Democratic Party used to have his endorsement and his vote, but they lost it when they silenced that section of the party. Of course, through the ideological lens, Rogan is just part of a greater manosphere conspiracy to indoctrinate young men and turn them into fascists. For anyone who's seen the podcast, it's kind of a ridiculous take, but it's truly a line they're actually pushing. Just listen to this clip of an MSNBC analysis pushing this exact narrative.
But what they have done in their online media ecosystem is build a radicalization engine, literally the way militant groups do around the world, that takes people from relatively low-level annoyances with the world. Why are eggs so expensive? Why is my kid learning this new thing in American history in school that I didn't learn? And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way, slowly, to a full-blown fascist politics. It's an elaborate multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, and there is nothing like it on the pro-democracy side. We don't have when a man is just lost and lonely and not yet radicalized, we don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan.
What's interesting about this take is both the absurdity of it and the jealousy of it. He doesn't skip a beat in categorizing the left as the pro-democracy side, while also implying that Rogan is a key part of a plan to brainwash the next generation. Politics aside, this extreme rhetoric just makes anyone who listens to a podcast like Joe's realize the mainstream media is grasping at straws. But it's this last line that's the most revealing, where he implies that the left-wing establishment needs their own version of this indoctrination pipeline and therefore needs their own Joe Rogan. While it isn't always for these same insane reasons, others across the left have also echoed this sentiment. They've identified that if Kamala had done more long-form and unscripted interviews, she probably would have gotten way more votes. Of course, this isn't the reaction across the board. Where there's jealousy, there's resentment, and you don't have to search far to find that.
Joe Rogan and other podcasters played a huge role in helping independent creators rise above the whole mainstream media. And, you know, I think the people who really nailed themselves into the ground were the mainstream media, lying to us, the American people and people as a whole. And I think it's awesome. And I think that Trump, you know, being the president, to open up the White House to creators like us and, you know, stuff like that is going to be awesome. But anyways, now we're going to be talking about why people are no longer buying what the mainstream media is selling, and what better example than everyone's favorite daytime talk show, The View. So check this out.
ABC's The View was originally created to try and live up to its own name, to give a platform for a wide range of women's perspectives on key issues. Of course, in the decades that the show has been running, that's changed. More recently, like a lot of news shows, it's become completely unapologetic in its clear bias. Just take one of their co-hosts' words about Joe Rogan on a recent episode of the show. In it, she makes the strange accusation that he believes in dragons to discredit him, all while bragging about how stringent their fact-checking is in comparison to online content.
I think that's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
we're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, you know, the legal note here.
The human legal note.
We went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple force that?
Yes, I did.
Within this accusation, you can identify both the reason they think legacy media is superior and the evidence that it isn't. While maybe a decade ago nearly everyone trusted mainstream news, those days are now long gone. It's precisely because of how biased they've become, to the point where they've abandoned the principles which made them reliable in the first place. Here we've got a clear example of taking one thing Joe Rogan said out of context and turning it into a personal attack to fit their own arguments. In this case, the accusation was based on earlier podcasts where Joe had discussed the fact that nearly every culture independently came up with the idea of dragons.
Very unusual for the concept of something to exist for a long time with no basis in reality. You know, that's why I'm interested in dragons. Like, why is every civilization, why do they all have dragons?
They mention dragons in the Bible a bunch of times. They don't mention dinosaurs.
Well, I think people weren't alive when dinosaurs were alive, but I bet they were alive when dragons were alive. I bet dragons were a real thing.
It's such a feeble attack that both Fox News and Joe Rogan himself pounced on the opportunity to make fun of it.
I had to read the thing about The View because I just thought it was funny.
What's
That's the only reason why I read that about me.
Dragon lover.
Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about
it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like
Sasquatch. They lived alongside people.
But it also highlights just how out of touch the mainstream establishment media has become about why they've lost so many viewers. Only Fox has seen a bump in viewership, although they're the exception here. It's likely based on the functional monopoly of mainstream right-wing coverage in the wake of Trump's victory, although they've also been far more willing to work with and pay attention to independent media as well. It's why the company that owns Fox is now putting people like Piers Morgan on YouTube, as they realize that everyone's turning to social media outlets instead of mainstream old networks. And we can see why. For most other networks, it's been a terrible first month. MSNBC in particular are in a tailspin, losing an astonishing 53% of their viewership compared to October. The other networks aren't far off. CNN saw a 22% drop in ratings overall, and a 43% drop during prime time compared to their election coverage. It clearly isn't the time for them to put their heads in the sand. So let's analyze just what went wrong and why so much of their audience are tuning out and turning to independent media instead. One benefit with the podcast space and independent journalism in general is the amount of time you have. It's a bonus that pretty much everyone can agree on because it makes a clear difference. Firstly, complicated issues can take a long time to unravel. There just isn't space to properly explore a topic in a 2-minute monologue or a 30-second speech. With that little time, it's guaranteed that you're going to have to cut out some important context. But with a longer conversation, you've got plenty of time to give things the consideration they deserve. And it brings us on to another benefit: how much more natural the final product feels.
So it's all about authenticity, and it's funny that the mainstream media is so scared that they try to discredit these independent creators and people like Joe Rogan, and they just try to make them out to be crazy. It's just insane. But before I get Jake's opinion, let's play this last clip dealing with this topic. So let's play it.
In most TV shows, there's a tight schedule where every second is accounted for. Over the past few decades, we've seen political debates and discussions on network TV melted down into 30-second sound bites to fit this mold. The time pressure is so great that the best pundits are the ones who can offer the most extreme, simple version of their thoughts on an issue. Surface-level engagement is king, any real depth is just out of the question. And the end result is like reading the titles of 30 different books, compared to actually just reading one good book. These discussions end up promoting bias because there just isn't room to include more than one viewpoint in your average mainstream political show. When you can find the rare show that does try to do it, the debates are rarely meaningful because there isn't time to really explore two opposing views. That isn't to say that independent media can't be biased either. We're never going to escape that. But in a longer format, there isn't much room to hide, and it gives audiences the time to stop and think about what they're hearing. The lack of invasive editing helps as well. Like all of these benefits, it makes the conversation and the ideas clearer. With mainstream media, you get an incredibly restricted view of an issue with some parts chopped out because they weren't exciting enough. People have had their words completely warped by editing, and audiences get misled all the time. The root of all these benefits is that independent journalists and people who create independent media aren't indebted to outside influences in the same way as the legacy media is. Within the establishment, there's tons of pressures on journalists and pundits that influence what they say. There's the agency they work for with its own idea of what they should be saying. There's often a billionaire owner or a set of shareholders pushing the agency in a certain direction. There's even the culture of the workplace and the content that they're already making, which has its own sway. And it's created a world where you get ahead by following the party line, saying what you're meant to say and never rocking the boat. Meanwhile, for independents, it's more like natural selection. People gain and lose popularity and influence based almost purely on whether other people want to give them their time. Both independents and the legacy media are always searching for ratings or views, and this influences both kinds of content. But with legacy media, there are far more infringing influences, and it really restricts the content they make and the things they say. One of the only things the legacy media has been clinging to is their prestige and their reputations. The argument is that because of the establishment surrounding it, legacy media is more trustworthy. They say they have years of reporting the truth under their belt and strong principles of journalistic integrity. Independent media, on the other hand, is therefore much less responsible and rife with misinformation because they don't have that same oversight or reputation to uphold.
Now, as for Rogan's recent comments, on one level it's just comical. Hearing this rich and famous guy express worries that even though he's paid to talk for a living, he's going to be silenced in the future.
While this idolized picture might be true for a few organizations, it clearly isn't the case across the board. And it's especially not true for the majority of mainstream networks. They get things wrong all the time. They push misinformation when it suits them, and they warp their narrative to fit their own agenda. Just take the previous example of how they responded to Joe Rogan, using their own made-up misinformation to create an attack against Joe for allegedly spreading misinformation himself. The hypocrisy is insane, and there's plenty of examples. It is true that some characteristics of independent media make them more vulnerable to making mistakes. If you have a 3-hour conversation with someone about anything, it's pretty likely that you are going to make a mistake at some point. Plus, the format itself and the proliferation of independent media means that it's more likely for people to get the truth of the matter. Just think about how historians create a picture of the past. To get the most complete picture of what's going on, they look at a wide range of sources and perspectives from the time. The more they have, the clearer the picture becomes. It doesn't even really make a difference if lots of the sources are biased, as it's the range of perspectives that matters. This is how you gain a clear picture of the world. Today, we're all like historians creating a picture of the present from a massive variety of different sources. Independent journalism and the internet as a whole has given people free access to so many perspectives on the world. It's opened up more options. In fact, the pressure is now on the consumer to take their information from a wide range of sources, rather than sealing themselves into their own echo chamber. What mainstream media is really mourning is their loss of the monopoly on information. Until fairly recently, they had complete control over the information that people could access about the world outside of their own perspective. People are enjoying this freedom and abandoning legacy media in droves. While it can be messy and chaotic, this greater freedom of information is one of the real benefits of our modern world. Independent media has widened people's perspectives, and it terrifies the establishment. The future of media in general is clearly a much more decentralized network of different perspectives. While it might leave some people and institutions behind, it's already creating a better informed world that can only be a good thing.
So what are your thoughts about this, Jake?
We are in the golden age of alternative media, I think is what this is indicating. And we know historically the United States sets up monopoly destroying laws. Like they did it with gas back in Texas. You know, what's the famous gas company that was, is it Texas Oil, or very famous? anyways, they did it with gas and they shut down those monopolies. Apparently, they're doing it with Google. That's something that came down the chute just recently, this past month. Really, Google is being pushed towards selling their monopoly of search engine power. So it makes sense that they're going to be shutting the monopoly of mainstream media down, even though it kind of like, I mean, it's not explicitly a monopoly, but like the parallel there is what I'm saying is like they're like splitting it up into all this, other alternative media sources. So hopefully, we're right along with all those other people, getting to question people at the White House. I hope so.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Opa?
Nope.
All right. Well, that's all I got for that story. But now it's time to laugh with Volume 10 of Please Excuse My Sense of Humor. So enjoy.
Donald Trump, send me home, back to where I belong, back to Mexico to see my papa.
I stole my girlfriend's wheelchair after she left me. Guess who came crawling back? I don't know what HD means, but my doctor told me I have 80 of them.
This is me.
Good.
In honor of my mom.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Pablo Juan Carlos Alejandro González María Lucia Mendoza Macarena Chipotle Tapatio con queso guacamole Ferreira Santiago Rodriguez, but everybody calls me Bobby.
Check Michael in the background. Check Michael in the background. Get the camera up and show Michael in the background. Whoa, Jamil, the king of pop is giving him an applause. His sign of approval, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Look at that. Sign of approval back there. They're bringing one of New York's finest.
Here's the real difference between cats and dogs. A dog can learn up to 250 words and gestures, count up to 5, and even perform simple math. Equivalent human age. 3. A cat doesn't give a f*** and is sick of your shit. Equivalent human age. 42.
Are you stuck? You're adopted.
Hold on.
Oh. Did you hide?
No, 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 no.
Let's see your talent. Let's see your talent. Let's
Look
see
at
your
me.
talent.
Hey, no, you need to look at me.
I don't have to do.
And in the lower set.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Please Excuse My Sense of Humor. That's all I got for History's Mysteries. I hope you guys enjoyed. And you got some memes for me, Jake?
Just a couple.
All right, meet me up. Meet me up.
Not you anymore. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. I'll never stop loving you. But you are going down a path I can't follow because of what you've done, what you plan to do. Stop now, come back, I love you. Liar! No! You're with him, you betrayed me. You brought him here to kill me. Let her go, Anakin, let her go. You turned her against me. You have done that yourself. You will not take her from me. Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. You have allowed this dark lord to twist your mind until now. Until now, you have become the very thing you swore to destroy. Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan. I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire. Your new empire, don't make me kill you, Anakin. My allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must. You will try. I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you. I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over. Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost. This is the end for you, my master. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. Don't try it. You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. I hate you. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
So, as epic as the fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end of Star Wars Episode 3 is the fight that we see them. So, another famous fight scene, you know, of course, in They Live. Not They, Them. They Live. This wasn't a fight scene. It was a metaphor for how hard it is to red pill some people. And I think we're going to see a lot of doubling down in the coming years. Let's hit this next video, Opa.
What rules? We didn't see any rules, did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir. Wrong. You stole females from down here. You corrupted Earth, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I just wanted to throw a little fallen angel throwback meme there, because as in the days of Noah, you know what I mean? Craziest rainbow ever. It's pretty crazy what, you know, our visual optics can do to us in the realm we live in. Very, very interesting. Is there another video? Okay, here we go. This brings a whole new meaning to Subway Surfer. my gosh, that's terrifying. That just recently happened in some flooding. Man, just what tripped me out was how many people were down there, man.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Yikes. Okay, let's screen share this last meme of the day. A very important truth. Anyone that genuinely seeks truth ultimately finds out that at the very bottom of the rabbit hole is the fact that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Yahushua, our Savior, you know, he's the rock that helps us through these confusing, trying times. And we can't forget that. So, final meme of the day. Thank you, guys. That'll be all.
Well, thank you, Jake, for another great current news and special segment in DC. Exclusive filming, as always. Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed today's History's Mysteries. I don't know why I said it like that. And we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stay awake, not woke. Subscribe and stay tuned. If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe. And also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Son of the legendary lost Jeremiah Skiba.
It's like they don't even want to wake up.